All right, here we go. Unit 6, Andrew Jackson. Andrew, there's usually going to get about one question a year off of Andrew Jackson, sometimes two. The main thing is nullification crisis, banks, and relocating the Indians. Make sure they understand he was the first Democratic president. I think that was the key on the question from last year. You can also introduce, which is touched back on in Unit 9, about the North and South, or Unit 8 versus North and South, why sectionalism arose over the tariffs and slavery. They got to understand the nullification crisis, that South Carolina didn't want to pay their federal taxes and threatened to secede. It was all about states' rights. Native Americans, this is pretty easy to make sure they understand that Worcester versus Georgia, that Supreme Court decision, the Indians actually won it. And it was unconstitutional to move them off their land, but Jackson ignored it. They got to know the Trail of Tears, make sure they know where Oklahoma is. Don't assume anything. Jackson versus the banks. I did put in McCulloch versus Maryland and Gibbons versus Ogden here because it's kind of a short unit and it's a good place to talk about them, and they're very similar. Both of them makes the federal government stronger and gets them the federal government more money. Missouri Compromise you can introduce here and show them, about 3630 line, and make sure you add here that it's all about political balance in Congress. South didn't want the North having more states and congressional congressmen, and same thing with the South. They were scared that the other one would either make a bunch of laws against slavery or make a bunch of laws for slavery. But this is Andrew Jackson. This is the Jacksonian democracy. You can make sure that he was the first one to expand suffrage rights, and he basically knocked off people that had to have property. Usually it used to be white landowners. Now that he kicked off the landowners, now more the poor farming working man could vote. But that is it. You can introduce secession. Go ahead and knock that off. And that is Unit 6.